Hi everybody, I'm here today to attempt to do a tutorial on how I make my flower vines or flower garlands in crochet. Now a few people have asked me about doing this, and I'd also like to include it as number 21 in my DWPB hashtag 100 things challenge. So these vines that I showed before I made in 4-ply yarn, in quite skinny yarn, but today for the tutorial, and so that you can see what I'm actually doing or trying to do, I'm going to be using much thicker yarn, so as you can see the actual stitches better. I'm going to be using these two colours for the stem, so there's a bit of contrast, and we'll be adding a white flower. Now I've made the flowers up in advance because otherwise this tutorial will go on for 2 weeks. So before I start, I have to say a big thank you to Debbie Vignola. I got a lovely card from her this morning, a thank you card for entering into one of her challenges. And she sent a lovely lace applique as well. So thank you very much, Debbie, much appreciated. And I'd also like to show you the lovely stamp that came on Debbie's card. So it has a lovely succulent on it, circular stamp, lovely succulent. Thank you, Debbie. This will be used in one of my junk journals. It will have another life. Thank you. Now, to get started, I'm using, this is fairly thick yarn, Drops Paris. They don't say whether it's double knitting or iron weight. I'd say it's nearly iron weight. So I make, before I start as well, I'm using a 4.5 hook. I don't know whether whether it's a G hook or a H hook or something. Let's say A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. It's either G or a H hook. Sorry. So I leave a fairly long tail to start off with, because with these crochet wreaths or crochet vines, you could be tying them onto a piece of furniture like the back of a chair, or draping them off a shelf or something, I don't know, or putting them on, using them as a headdress. So leave a long tail just so as you can use them for something. Now, first of all, I make a slip knot. And the only stitches you need to use for this are slip stitch and chain stitch. The flowers, you can use any flower, any colour in crochet. And if you don't make your own crochet flowers, or you just do basic crochet, you can buy flowers, or you can ask me to make you a few. They can be bought on Etsy, and they're available. So you need as many as you're going to use, really. I'm going to do a very short garland or vine today, as I said before, otherwise it would go on for a fortnight. But you can do it, make it as long or as short as you like. So you make your slip loop and put it on the hook. Then I would make up to possibly 15 or 20 chains. But today, because this is going to be fairly quick, I'm only going to do a few chains. That's the start of your stem. Then you add your flower. You pick up your flower, you turn it over, and you stick the hook in through the back of it. Pick up a few stems. This is not going, of course this isn't going to go with me today, but anyway, just stick in the hook and pick up a few strands of thread. Then straighten out what you're doing here. I try to tighten the strand I'm working with, the green strand, pull it as tight as possible, and pull your thread through the strands of yarn that are making the flower, then catch it up again and pull it through the 2 loops that are on the hook. Off you go again, and make as many chains as you like until you get to where you would like to put on the next flower. Here again, I'm not going too far because otherwise I'll be here all day. You get your next flower, you turn it over, and once again you pick up a few strands of thread on the hook to attach the flower to the stem. This is about the most tricky bit. You tighten up the loop that comes from the chains you've just made. You pull your thread through the strands that are making the flower, and then you catch up your thread again and pull it through 2 loops in the hook, and off you go. And you keep repeating that until it's as long as you like. Now the ones I make are about 20 inches long, but we're making a very short one today because it's the exact same thing over and over and over again. So when you come to the end, just leave a long tail again so that you can tie it onto things. Catch up your thread and pull it through. So this is what it looks like at this stage. You just have to imagine a big long green strand with about 10 flowers on it. You go right back to the beginning. You get your other ball of thread. This is to make the stem stronger. So you go back to the very start of your stem. Here, just get it right side facing. Put your hook into the first chain. Pull the new thread through, and put your hook into the next loop along the stem. Pull the thread through 2 loops, and keep doing this. This is a slip stitch, and keep slip stitching along the stem until you get as far as the flower. This is the relatively boring bit, but it looks well if you do make the stem in 2 tones of green, or even a green and brown or a cream and green. It looks very well. I'm trying not to split the yarn here. I'm not looking at the crochet, I'm looking at the crochet on the screen. So this is can be a bit awkward. Sorry, just have to go off camera for a minute while I straighten it off. And just keep working away until you get up as far as the back of the flower, and just keep going. Keep slip stitching across the back of the flower into the next loop. And this will also tighten up the flower a bit. Sorry, I have to. And keep slip stitching along until you see the way we're gone beyond the first flower now. At this stage, you can decide to add a leaf. Now what I did for some of the vines I made, I just made little loops to resemble leaves. In other words, I made about 6 chains or less and just slip stitched them back into the loop I was coming out of. Made it another, do about 4 or 5 this time, and slip stitched back in to the same loop, then slip stitched into the next loop, and keep going along until you decide you want to make another leaf. You can make another leaf straight away, or you can go on past your next flower and make a leaf. That's all. You just keep doing that until you reach the end. Now I'll show you what I mean by leaf. This is where I added the leaf on this one. I made a proper leaf. I made 2 chain, 2 double crochet, a treble crochet, 2 double crochet and 2 chains, and slip stitched everything back into the chain it was coming out of. And then I did the same again, so I have a kind of a double loop along in between each of the 2 flowers. And right, let's see what I do on this one. I made even tiny little loops in this. I just did 2 or 3 stitches. Wait, let's see. Yeah, I think there I just did 2 chain, a double, 2 chain, and slip stitch back down into the loop that the thread was coming out of. That's all. You could also add beads before you start and put them on here and there at regular intervals. This is what I mean by the little loops. Here they are again, they're just like loops with a little double crochet in the middle. And what you can do, you can sew it, go back afterwards when you're totally finished and sew in a bead, or just for speed, glue in a bead like I did. There's no need to sew on individual beads. And that's all. Now I hope this tutorial helps some of you. It's easier than it looks, but it is time consuming. And if you use thinner thread, like the 4-ply, it will look a lot less chunky and clunky than these ones here. But you can see how you could add bigger leaves. You could even make your leaves, first of all, along with your flowers, and add the leaves as well as the flowers as you go along. There's loads of variations you could do. So I hope this has helped the people who are asking. And as I said, it's number 21 in my DWBP #100 Things Challenge. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Thank you for bearing with me. Bye.